Hey, I write so much, and I figured, being that the first rule of communication is that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Maybe I should give a video blog a shot. Blog, whatever they're calling it these days, the cool kids, or what have you. Speaking of cool kids, I was at the snow cone stand across the street from my house the other day. I had run out of gas, and I decided to ride my little cruiser bike on over there. And I meet these 14-year-old boys. So I had a brief interaction with them, and I've got to say, a little scared for the future, y'all. Um, I was talking to them about life and stuff a little bit, and here I am under the impression that being a nerd is like the cool thing now. Like, it's cool to be a nerd, right, you guys? And they're like, no, nerds are lame. You're cool if you smoke weed. And I'm like, oh, silly me. I guess I'm not cool anymore. There you go. But there's one thing I've learned. It's that being cool is vastly overrated, y'all. That used to be like my main goal in life. I just wanted to be one of the cool kids, like that song. And all the songs and movies and books are about my life. They are, and your life and everyone's. I'm not that narcissistic, but I listen, okay? And I read. There are two problems with the world today, in my humble opinion. And those problems are people don't read and people don't listen. Now, if you do one of those things, just one of the two, at least one of the two, like you're in pretty good shape. If you can do both, you're unstoppable, okay? Because for one thing, you have knowledge, and for another thing, you're open to new knowledge. You're not stuck in one place. You can go anywhere from here, okay? Now, in a person's life, during your formative years, which your entire life is made up of formative years, because you're not done yet. You don't just hit a point and just stop. You keep going. I mean, some people do, and that's what we call a plateau, okay? If you ever just stop, you say, I'm retired, like, I'm just done with this whole life thing, I'm just going to stay the exact same until I die. You're going to die a lot sooner, because when it comes to life, and I am a spiritual person, I grew up going to church, and, like towards the end of high school, I stopped, and that's when I started losing myself. And now when you lose yourself, and you're used to having that guidance and support group in your life, and, you care so much about it, but you're killing that part of yourself to, in my case, it was so I would, appear to be more cosmopolitan, or, like cooler to, the guy I was dating at the time, because he didn't believe in God, and I was made to feel kind of dumb for doing so. And you know what Eleanor Roosevelt once said: never let anyone make you feel inferior without your consent. Now, that was a little tangent there, and that's just the way my brain works, because the way I understand the world is that everything is connected. I talk in circles, and I write that way too sometimes, and it doesn't always make the most sense. So I have to remind myself to slow down, because if you want people to listen, especially men, when you're a woman, you gotta speak low and slow. When you get over emotional, over excited, they turn off, they shut down, they stop listening, they stop paying attention. And there I go. I talk too fast because I think really quickly, And it's no fault of my own. It's just the way I am. And I've decided, I've made the executive decision that the brain God gave me is wonderful, okay? I have a beautiful mind. It operates a little differently than others, but I don't necessarily need pharmaceutical intervention or medical intervention to fix it, because you know what they say, don't fix what ain't broken. I'm good. I always have been. I have an excess amount of energy, which I've learned to channel into positive avenues. Exercise being one of the most important. It needs to be an adequate ratio of exercise, movement, go outside, move your body, or stay inside in the air conditioning in a gym and, and really whatever. It kind of bores me. I used to do the elliptical machine like every day for 45 minutes, and after 10 minutes, my feet would fall asleep. Because I'm very slightly hypoglycemic, and when I don't eat or have enough to drink, I get hangry, so hungry, I'm angry, I'm just gonna take it out on whoever's around me. And I'm an empath, okay? I can feel the weight of the world if I let myself in people's negativity, especially people I care about. You want to help the people you care about. You just want to make them feel better, but sometimes you just can't. You can't help people who refuse to help themselves. You can offer them all the best suggestions in the book that you know of, and hope and pray and wish the best for them, but at the end of the day, you can't control what they do, how they think, what they feel. We're only half-ass in control of ourselves most of the time, and I mean, it took a lot for me to finally realize that, because I like to play it off like I'm this free-spirited hippie type, but really deep down I'm a control freak, okay? I'm a damn control freak and I know it, okay? But anyway, what I was getting at is I've come a long way in the past year. I started this blog in order to sort out my thoughts, get to know the real me again, because I miss me. Like I said, I lost myself somewhere along the way, and it seems like every time I found myself again, I got used to the new normal or whatever. It's like the whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back scenario constantly, and that's freaking maddening, okay? It's maddening. Like, the most maddening things in the world to me, not knowing, not being able to see clearly. I'm blind as a freaking bat, y'all, without my glasses. Like, I'm looking at my face, and I'm sitting maybe 3 feet away from my computer screen, and I'm a colorful blur right now. I like to tell people that without my glasses, the world looks like an impressionistic painting. But, sometimes not being able to see will heighten your other senses. And that is why I do feel so deeply, and I listen. I hear things that, a lot of people can't, like that high-pitched noise that the old school TVs make when they're on, but nothing's playing. It's like this squeal, it's like this like, if there is a hell and I end up going there, that sound is just going to be playing constantly. Anyways, I don't believe in hell as a physical place, by the way. I believe we go through periods of hell throughout our lives, and there can also be heaven on earth. And when it comes down to it, hell is confusion, it's fear, anxiety, sadness, anger. Heaven is peace, and that's why Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. Because when you have peace, you have all the good things in life. When you have peace, you're at your center. And nothing anyone can say can bring you down. There are moments, like I said, we don't always have control. We can't. We're human, okay? So there's times you'll lose your peace, but as long as you can realize when you've lost it, just become self-aware enough to realize, come back to your center. Go to your little happy place or whatever you want to call it. I don't like to be that cheesy. I am kind of a comedian and I do joke around a lot. And the curse of the comedian is when you're serious, people think you're joking. And when you're joking, people take you seriously. And that's how people end up offended, feelings hurt. And in today's day and age where much of our communication is done via text, via email, messaging, what have you, that things get lost in translation a lot of the time, especially if you've had very little face-to-face interaction with the person you're communicating with, and they don't know how to interpret it. They can't hear your voice in the whole text thing, So that being said, this is my way of showing all of you who I've got Google AdSense, I've got the dashboard, I know who my readers are. 72% of them are new every day, so this is my way of introducing myself to those who don't know me in person. Now you've heard my voice, and you know that I'm real. That's half the battle, is figuring out what's real, what can you trust. If you have no physical evidence, it's really difficult to trust. And I'm sorry, I had some kind of tranquility thing on my Amazon TV. I'm turning that off now. Anyways, well, let me get back to the point I was trying to make. Sorry, I didn't practice this little speech in front of a mirror or anything. I've got a general idea of where I'm going with it. But the most important thing is having good mentors in your life. We're all in this thing together, but people aren't meant to be islands. And by that I mean, it's really difficult to go through life without any assistance whatsoever. Damn near impossible, okay? You've heard of those feral children who are raised by wolves, and they get brought into, the human tribe, and they don't know how to act. They're still over here I just want to go hunting and run around on all fours because that's how I've been taught, okay? So, we have institutions in place in our society. We have schools, hospitals, churches, etc. teach us how to, be successful, functioning members of society. And in those places, you'll find mentors, being they teachers, preachers, what have you, counselors. And I've been blessed enough to have received help from all of those. I've had wonderful teachers, especially my English teachers, who encouraged me to keep writing because that's the best way I knew how to express myself when I was younger. I was very shy and awkward growing up. Painfully shy. I didn't like to look people in the eye. I was taught from a young age that it was rude to look adults in the eye. That was disrespectful. So I didn't look anyone in the eye. Unless they were my trusted family members or little friends, the few friends that I had. Because I was terrible at making friends. I was bad at talking to people. So books were my friends for the most part. While the other kids in elementary were screwing around with picture books and talking and having fun in the library, I was the one, buried behind the shelf, in the chapter books, and I've always loved to read. I was kind of pudgy, awkward, kids would make fun of me and call me fat, make fun of my glasses, make fun of my braces when I had them because I got them a lot sooner than most kids. And, I was always a couple of years ahead in math. I remember in 8th grade, I moved to a new town And I went to the high school first period for geometry class, right? So I get there and I'm kind of looking lost, looking around, like, oh, it's a big school, where do I go? Well, this woman walks up to me and she's like, hey, honey, the bus is over here. And she's pointing to the short bus. And I'm like, oh, she thinks I'm special. Great. It's going to be that kind of day. So I'm like, actually, I'm here for geometry. I'm in middle school. I go to Goodson. And she's like, oh, okay. You know, so I'm used to getting that face from people when they realize that, you know, I'm not just a fuck up or a, you know, mentally challenged or what have you. And actually, people who are in special education are some of the greatest people on earth. They're just misunderstood. I mean, I have a cousin who's technically autistic and he's a freaking genius, okay? Like musical genius. And he can memorize anything and just like repeat it right back to you. It's awesome. And I'm kind of like that too. I've had a sneaking suspicion that I was like a high functioning autistic for a while. Only I think I saw in a movie one time or on some show. It's like, this girl thinks she's autistic. That's, what a weirdo, you know? But, you know, like, I do have like little quirks and eccentricities like that. Like when I get in certain moods, like I don't like being touched. Like, please give me my space or I'll probably yell at you. You know, I'll ask you nicely the first time to back up, but if you don't, like, I'm gonna let you have it. Like, I just want to be respected, you know, and I think that's all anyone really wants. Is to be respected, to be seen, and to be heard. There was this woman I met when I went to this thing they call a women's retreat. It's like a rehab facility back in 2011. It's called Brookhaven Retreat. It's in Seymour, Tennessee. It was a beautiful place, and my mother, bless her heart, spent a lot of her retirement. She worked hard earning her retirement fund, sending me there for 2 months. The place was not cheap. And if there's any way I can ever pay my parents back, and all my friends back, and mentors back, for all the crap they've taken from me, and just being there for me, like, I will. Because I feel like I'm very misunderstood, and this is kind of my way of clearing the air with everyone who's ever misunderstood me. Oscar Wilde once said, the opinions of others are none of your business. And he's right. When you go around worrying about what other people think all the time, that means you're really insecure. And I've been that girl. And it's not fun being that girl. Just, you know, worrying about fitting in and, you know, going with the crowd. Like, back to what I was saying about trying to be one of the cool kids, you know? It's stupid. It's freaking stupid, y'all. Like, don't do it. They say you can't succeed unless you try. I say that's kind of bull. I say you can't fail unless you try, because if you have to try too hard at anything, you're probably not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're probably not. You know, do something else. Follow your heart. Figure out what your passions are, what your strengths are. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Or work to improve upon your weaknesses and use your strengths to do so. When you're actively engaging in things that you know you're good at, it builds your confidence and your self-worth, which I've been told my whole life that I'm good at writing. And that's why I started this blog. Now, it's evolved quite a bit since I started it last October. And it's almost a year old now. Go figure. The older you get, faster the years fly by. I mean, I'm one of those people, you know, sometimes I get in a mode where, like, I can't tell you what I ate for breakfast yesterday, but I can tell you what happened 10 years ago, you know? Like, if I read something, see it in a movie, hear it in a song, I remember it forever. You know, if you write it down for me, I'll remember it. And that's why one of the best friends I ever had, and also a mentor for me. You know, like that's why it worked for me so well. It's because most of our communication was done through writing, and you know, I appreciated that so much. And you know, I've tried to let them know in so many words, but you know, sometimes people get to a point where like they can't hear you anymore, and that's okay. No, it's totally okay. I have no hard feelings. It's just, you know, he once told me that he thought the only reason I was still, you know, so hell bent on, you know, communicating with him is because I reminded him of a time in my life where, you know, I felt more confident and secure with myself. And he was right. It's the truth. I miss myself more than anything. And I'm back, you know, with a vengeance. I totally, I get me, I know me, I love me, I'm fucking awesome. I use the fuck word. Sorry if you don't like that word. I'm a sailor, you know. I come from both sides of the tracks. My grandmother on my dad's side called fart the F word, and my granny on my mom's side told me what a hooker was at the tender age of 8. We were passing by Telephone Road going to visit Great Aunt Clara, I think, and you know, she's like, "Oh, Telephone Road, that's where all the hookers hang out. Don't go down there." And I'm like, "What's a hooker, Granny?" And she's like, "They're women who sell their bodies to the night." I'm like, okay. You know, kids are way smarter than you give them credit for. And, you know, people for that matter, I believe firmly that if you're straightforward with them, you know, be direct above all else. Be honest, okay? You want to be a person others can trust. Now, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't know who you are, nobody else is going to be able to trust you or know you. And that's just how it is. Or love you, for that matter. And if you don't love yourself, no, you know, besides your mom, maybe, you know, your mom's always going to love you. You know, your dad, your parents, if you're blessed enough to have parents who care about you, because not everyone is. And that's why mentors are so important. You know, if it's not your parents, maybe you've got a good teacher, you know, like my English teachers, maybe you go to church, you've got like a good youth leader who can help you out. And I've had all of the above. Now, my most recent mentor, the latest and greatest, I met at like my favorite coffee shop I've been frequenting since I was 19. So the past 6.5, 7 years now. It's called Agora. It's in Montrose. It's my favorite part of Houston because it's like, well, was in its heyday, still kind of is. You know, the artsy fartsy. You know, now it's more like, you know, it's like the gayborhood. That's what they call it. Whatever. And it's like now where the hipsters hang out or what have you. And I mean, I don't really care. I am who I am. I pulled my pants up to here and tucked my shirt in first grade and had reading glasses. And my dad called me a dork for it. And now chicks pay top dollar at the trendy thrift stores around there to dress like that. So more power to you. Just dress how you feel comfortable. You know? I forgot where I was going with that, but oh yes, my mentor, Thomas Gray. Now, I met him, it was a rainy day. I thought I had gotten the only dry seat on the patio. So I'm sitting there, I'm gonna do some journaling. I'm off in headphone land, I forget what I'm listening to, but I think it was Joni Mitchell actually. She's doing better now, from what I hear. Suffered a brain aneurysm a while back. Anyways. Getting off topic again. So I see this man walk outside and he's looking around for a seat and I'm like, he smiles at me and I say hi and I'm like, good luck finding one, you know, like I think they're all wet. And I kind of look down and look back up and he's across from me and pulls out the chair and he's like, this one's dry. Do you mind if I sit here? And I'm like, of course not. Feel free. Do you mind if I smoke? And he says, no, I was going to ask you the same question. I have a 3-hour conversation with this man who is a dead ringer from Morgan Freeman. I don't know. Anyway, so, by the end of the conversation, this man, who's a retired doctor from New York City, 60 years old, he's, but young at heart, he confirmed and validated everything I thought I knew about myself and life and the universe and everything, within this 3-hour conversation. And I was like, holy crap, I can breathe again, like, whoa, this is amazing. I know who I am. Now, he shared some great advice with me. And one of those things was, when you're having a conversation with someone, maybe they're being pushy or something, you don't know what to say, don't tell them I don't know. Don't say those words. Close your eyes, breathe, just kind of smile to yourself a little bit. Take as much time as you need. The words will come. Okay, you'll know what to say. He told me that if you want to know God, be still with yourself. There's a verse that actually is nailed to a tree and a piece of wood. That's weird. At this campsite that I went to a choir camp out in Palestine when I was a kid. And I would, we were free to wander anywhere we went. We wished. So I'm wandering the trails in this, the piney forest or what have you. And there's little verses nailed to the trees there. And one of them was my favorite. It said, "Be still and know that I am God." Now say that to yourself. Say it. Be still and know that I am God. Say it to yourself. Now meditate on that for a second, because the Bible is a beautiful book, okay? I love Jesus. I know God. I know Jesus, okay? Now, you can take what I'm about to say as blasphemy, but I believe that the Bible is an allegory. Now, did some of these events actually occur? Yeah. What Jesus said in the red letters, like, that's the truth. I believe that. New Testament, those things, this is the truth. Like, Old Testament, all the wars that were fought and all the stuff that happened there, sure, yeah. Now, the Garden of Eden scenario, I think that's an allegory. The books that you read, the fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, all allegories, similar themes here. Good versus evil. In literature, there are, usually 3 main conflicts. It's man versus nature, and man versus himself. Now, my main conflict during, the book of my life has been man versus himself, or a woman in this case, or girl. Now, I've got 2 sides, right? And they've told me I'm bipolar. I don't really give a damn about that. I've got a Gemini rising, whatever. That's the twin thing. It's a conflicting thing. I'm born on a cusp. If you, give any credence to astrology, which if God created the heavens and the earth, there's got to be something to the movement of the stars and the planets and their positioning the day and time you were born. I don't care who you are. So, I'm born on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn. Now, all magazines I read when I was a kid told me I was a Sagittarius. The little 17 and Cosmo I read when I was, way too young to be reading about all these sex tips. I'm just like, oh, okay, interesting. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, so I'm supposed to be this adventurous, free-spirited, philosopher type of person, cool. And I kind of am in a way. But my sun sign is really a Capricorn. I was born December 21st, 1989 at 4:20 p.m. I shit you not. It says so on my shoe. in Houston, Texas. Found outside the hospital, froze over the day I was born. One of the coldest days on record in Houston. Ironically enough, the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel was #1 on the charts that day. I consider myself an outlier. I've tried to understand myself in many ways. I've called myself an alien. I was conceived in Roswell, New Mexico. There you go. Alien, angel, demon, like, what the heck am I? Like, let's identify, let's self-identify, let's put a label on it. But there are 2 universal languages in this world, and they're really one and the same. It's music and math. Go anywhere in the world, it makes sense. I don't care who you are. 1 + 1 is always 2. And, music is math, if you've ever studied theory. And furthermore, when you hear a piece of music, you'll get the emotion of it if you are capable of feeling, which hopefully you are. I feel sorry for you if you're not, because I've been there. I took lithium for 1.5 years, which has to be at a toxic level in your system to work, and I couldn't cry for like 1.5 years. I couldn't really laugh either. It was just numb. Not comfortably numb either. So, yeah, I'm not throwing a pity party for myself here. I just want people to know where I'm coming from, because I'm good now. I'm great. You know who I am. And, like, nothing anyone can say at this point or do is going to bring me down or stop me from living the best life I can. And because I've been through so much, learned so much, I feel obliged to share my knowledge with other people. And this is my truth. My truth may not be the same for you or yours or anyone else, but this is just what I know. And something else Thomas taught me is there's a difference between believing and knowing. Alice of Alice in Wonderland through Looking Glass fame says, I can believe 9 impossible things before breakfast. And I'll believe literally anything, but you don't know until you know, okay? Once you know, you can't unknow certain things that have been revealed to you, okay? Now, I'm treading on strange territory at this point, and I'm going to stop right there and come back to the center here. I just want to encourage you, if you feel lost at all, if you feel angry for reasons you can't put your finger on, or sad, and anger is just sadness deferred, right? We're angry, we're really sad about something, and we don't realize it, or maybe we're not ready to confront it. Find yourself a mentor, find yourself a counselor, find yourself someone who is equipped to hear you and help you. Now, you can't rely on just one single person to be your everything. That is uncalled for. It's not possible. Especially in a relationship, like a romantic relationship, you got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you just want them to be your everything. You want them to be your mentor and your sex partner and your jogging buddy and your TV watching partner and, like everything. They can't, because they've got their own stuff to worry about too. Everyone's got their own stuff. And you can't expect other people to just take your stuff and run away with it and like your whole life's going to be better. Like one person can't do that. You've got to be able to put your own burdens down. Cross whatever bridge you need to, because oftentimes the bridge is rickety, it's missing boards. If you carry all that shit across, it's gonna break, and you're gonna fall. I've fallen down too many times to count, like literally and spiritually, metaphorically, metaphysically, whatever. And those are the times in your life when you need to reassess. You're probably doing something wrong, if not many things. It's time to make a change. And you're the only person who can do that. there's, one thing you can count on in life, and that's change. We're constantly changing. We can wake up, be a different person every day. It's like that Bittersweet Symphony song, A million different people from one day to the next. And I'm a quote machine. I'll do that, but I have my own words too, and I finally figured out how to use them. Now I'm looking at the time on this, and I've been hopefully not just rambling for 35.5 minutes. Hopefully there's something good in here that you can take home and, apply to your life. Maybe you think it's bullshit, that's fine. Maybe you think it's the greatest thing you've ever seen, that's cool too. I just hope this helps someone. And that's why I write. That's why I talk to people. I believe if you see someone, and maybe they stand out from the crowd a little bit, maybe they look a little out of place, you feel like, maybe you should talk to them. You should. You should probably talk to that person, because more than likely they've got something you need to hear. They've got a clue for, your next quest in this journey they call life. They got something who's going to take that could take you to the next level if you apply it. You're the only one who can do that. But, people will come and go, and I've lost a lot of friends, but I've made a lot more too. And I believe that when the time is right, sometimes, not always, but people will come back into your life if they're supposed to. So don't be discouraged. If someone can't be there for you anymore who you care about, just keep moving forward. Prove to yourself that you can get along without them, and just wake up every day and be the best version of yourself you can possibly be. I'm gonna stop right here. I think you've probably heard enough, and I think this went fairly well. Probably gonna go back and listen to this. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and I think I'll do this again. Respond in the comments. Shoot, I don't get much interaction on this thing. Tell me what you think. Email me, Facebook me, whatever, Twitter. I've got a little button on there. Hit me back. Give me some feedback. What would you like to hear? What would you like to see on here? Because I travel a lot. I meet a lot of people. I used to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, but really, I just gotta fly. I get a little crazy. I stay in the same place for too long, and I realized it's not necessarily the place. It's just, it's me. It's just like this inherent need I have to drive, and it's a form of meditation for me, because I can be quiet, I can be alone, I can crank my music full blast and just focus, and not have to worry about people talking to me, throwing new stuff at me, throwing the stuff at other people, just clear my mind. And meditation is extremely important. Find a way to meditate. If being still and silent drives you nuts, which it does sometimes for me, crank the music, dance. I do that. Ride your bike. Do something that helps you release your negativity, your tension, what have you, so you don't take it out on someone who doesn't deserve it. That's all I got. I'll take it easy.